we have a political analyst from civil society giving us his own take this evening. Mr. Jidojo joins us here on Politics Today. Thank you very much for being with us on the program.
My pleasure, Killer.
Let me start off with a score.
What about
it? Come on, don't do that. You know people have been scoring the president.
No.
What's the score for him for the past 2 years? Let's say 10 being excellent and 1 being absolutely woeful.
I will disappoint you on that count because I really would not want to do an overall score unless we take it sector by sector.
All right, so let's do that.
Yeah, so
the economy.
The economy. I will score him 7.
He's doing well. That's a pass mark.
Yeah, he's doing well on the economy because of the macroeconomic reforms. But that is not to say that the gestation period of that economic reforms have been fully achieved. You know, it's a. I said on a media interview, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I said, okay, you plant cassava or you plant maize or you plant anything, you are not going to reap harvest that product that same day. But are we on the path to greatness? I would believe so, particularly from what I listened to from some of his ministers that were on this program yesterday. I took my time to listen. I'm not just a critic for criticism's sake. I mean, I'm an analyst, and I'm a columnist, I'm a researcher, I'm an advocate, and so I knew that we are not where we should be, but we are not where we ought to be. But that is not to say, when I say 7, I'm looking at infrastructural development. I'm looking at the fact that we are seeing some tangibles in terms of fixing some of the. I mean, I was privileged to be at Rule of Law Development Foundation of Senior Advocate J.B. Daudu on May 27, and I made a presentation there, and I was able to articulate what I would consider Tinubunomics. What is Tinubunomics? That's the economic policies of this government. You look at quite a bouquet of things that he has committed to. Aside from infrastructure, there's credit scheme, the MSME 200 billion. There is the credit core to give people loan. There are other innovations, so on that count, I would say, well, at least for me, fair deal. But I'm not judging him for having finished or completed, or that we have seen the full benefit of that microeconomic policies. I'm judging on the initiatives that, okay, if we follow through this path,
yes,
we may get somewhere that would. Okay, let me give you an instance. There is now 6 zonal development centers, first of its kind. And if they do not disappoint themselves and turn it into an ATM, you are going to see the geopolitical zones having some other, being able to deliver on development agenda. You look at the tax reform. A lot has gone into that. Maybe in the coming days he's going to sign. So I'm judging him on policies.
Not on the performance of the policy.
Not on performance.
But you see, when everyone is taking a look at the president, all they're thinking about is the impact of whatever policy it is on the Nigerian people.
And I agree.
And the quality of the life of the Nigerian.
And I agree. And
in your view, from an analytical point of view,
yeah,
can you still score him 7 over 10 when you take a look
at...
On
the achievement, no.
When you look at the life of the Nigerian?
No. I won't do that. I'm not mad. I won't do that. I'm also a victim of the system. I mean, see, Kela, we can look at the cup as being half full or half empty. If I use myself as an individual, my life is worsted. But not necessarily by Tinubu, but cumulatively. I wrote in my column in The Punch this Wednesday that ruling elite that Nigerian ruling elite and state capture. What all the leaders, past and present, have been trying to do is state capture. And by that, they are self-serving. Personal aggrandizement is what they are doing. But let me backtrack a little. When I say I'm looking at the reforms, I'm not looking at the achievements. I gave you an analogy that if you plant today, you are not going to reap that same day. It's going to take a bit of a time. So what is the current impact? The current impact is negative.
I mean, one of the things that happens. Sorry, Mr. Gijojo. One of the things that happened is that endorsement. That
that endorsement was political.
What it did, and I don't know if many people really got that. People who are around the president, I don't know if they really understood that. What that did was tell the Nigerian people that we don't live the same lives that you do. We're not seeing the same things that you're seeing. We're not experiencing the same country. Almost like we have a divided country. There are people in a bubble, and there are people outside of the bubble.
No, let's calibrate this. I will not say kudos to the president for overall achievement and performance. You asked me a question about whether what the streets are saying. And the streets are not happy. The streets are not smiling. I'm not smiling. Why? Because of the same macroeconomic policies. You look at the quality of life as depreciated. More people have fallen into poverty. More unemployment. You understand what I'm saying? So you can look at the flip side of those reforms and the impacts they have brought about being negative. But how do you, and I will give you this analogy, Kayla. You don't win a match in the first half of a game, do you?
No, you don't.
Yeah. So Chelsea just played a couple of days back, was losing 1-0 to Real Betis. But at the end of the game, in the second half, defeated Real Betis by 4 goals to 1.
This victory, victory that has stressed this country.
No, wait. I'm not.
This victory that has stressed this country.
I'm only giving you an analogy, and let nobody misconstrue me as being endorsing the president. It does not have my endorsement. I'm not a politician. I'm not a member of the political class. I'm only saying initiatives, reforms.
But we've never lacked reforms. We've never lacked policies. We've had some of the most beautiful reforms in the world.
No, exactly. We have never lacked reforms, but can we keep eye on this current one and see that these reforms, these sufferings are not eternal for us? Now, let's pick from removal of subsidy. You asked Chief the other time, did any of the other candidates say they were going to remove the subsidy?
They all did.
They all said yes. I disagree at the point in time that the president removed the subsidy. I disagree. He could have tarried a bit, do some housekeeping, went on a visit to Port Harcourt and Warri and see the state of the turnaround maintenance, and go to Dangote, have a tete-a-tete with him to say, we know this your edifice has been already commissioned. When are you going to start production? Did you know that Kenya had to extend subsidy for about 6 months in order to cushion the effect, at some point? So I think it was done in a hurry. But was it necessary?
It was.
It was. And that's the point I'm coming from. Looking at the cup as being half full rather than being half empty.
I want to be able to take you, because you are a political analyst.
Yeah.
When it comes to politics in this country, how would you rate how the president has handled a lot of things, bearing in mind what happened in Rivers State? Bearing in mind right now the fact that there are massive defections going to the All Progressives Congress. I've asked before, does the APC understand that people need to eat? When you join a party, they will have political ambitions. Some have said that the All Progressives Congress is heading towards an implosion. With all of these people,
I said that.
You said the same thing as well.
And wait, Kayla. I don't know if you read my column. I happen to be one of those people who called out the president and said, Mr. President, you goofed on Rivers. And it's there online. People can fact check me. People can read. I disagree with him. He does not have the power to suspend an elected government.
Did that impact his legacy in your view?
Well, of course it does, because he's the first president that has gone that far. Not Obasanjo, not Goodluck Jonathan. If he had wanted to be a Democrat, what he should have done was to follow the path of Goodluck Jonathan in 2014. Was it 2013 or 2014? When he declared state of emergency in Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa. And he did not remove the democratic institutions. Neither did they suspend them. So Obasanjo did not remove the state assembly, but removed the governors in Ekiti, in Plateau. I think those two. Maybe there was more. But he removed the governor, put Oluni in place of Fayose in Ekiti, put Chris Ali in place of Dariye in Plateau. But and I read out the president's pedigree as a Democrat. You don't do this. I even feel embarrassed that the Attorney General Minister of Justice could justify that. Because you are the chief law officer. How can you say the president was right to have suspended a Democrat? Meanwhile, the Supreme Court said the reason why they ruled Fubara out of order was what? Because he neglected an arm of government, which was the legislature. So how can the president now come few weeks after and suspend the governor, deputy governor, and the 32 members of the State House of Assembly? On that count, he's called low. And he has not made any pretense that he's even doing any political restructuring. I've asked him. I was in Ibadan. The day he gave a keynote address at Abiola Ajimobi memorial lecture, the third Abiola Ajimobi, I was a panelist at that event. He was the guest speaker. And he spoke glowingly about restructuring. And I was looking forward to his restructuring agenda. And I've asked him time and again in my column in The Punch, Mr. President, what is your restructuring agenda? What he has said, when he went to see Pa Fasonati in Akure, was that he's focusing on economic restructuring. And we have seen the restructuring. But the gestation period of those restructuring, economic restructuring, is not yet fully. We cannot, in good conscience, say he has achieved on those reforms. But on political, whether it's the sole candidacy, the endorsement, it's too early in the day. You are just midterm, and then you are getting endorsement as the sole candidate.
Some people have pointed to the fact that this could be the APC being afraid, starting politics in 2 years before the election.
It's not even, for me, it's not about being afraid or not. I think it's just kind of taking the people for granted that this is a given. And I think Mr. President needs to be wary of this kind of endorsement early in this. Did you know that Goodluck Jonathan got all manner of endorsement?
I think people forget that this sort of endorsements happened in the past. And Goodluck lost the election.
He lost the election. So you can get all the endorsement. 24 hours is a long time in politics. So if you are getting all the endorsement and you allow it to get into your head, this psychophancy led Goodluck Jonathan to his political albatross that he stood out as the first elected president to lose as a sitting president. But I know what the focus for APC is winning the next election, which is unfortunate. It should be about the next generation. How do we mitigate the suffering of the people? How do we, I've always quoted this. Section 14, subsection 2B of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria talks about security and welfare of the citizens being the primary purpose of government. Do we have security? Do we have welfare? The answer is no. But I must also say this, Kayla. I will not, in good conscience, say Tinubu should carry the count for all the woes of the present, our present woes. I said, and I don't know whether I said it on your show, I said there are 11,082 political offices in Nigeria. 11,082. Starting with 8,809 councillorship, 768 local government and 6 area council chairmen, to 993 State House of Assembly positions, down to 36 governors, down to 360 House of Reps members, to 109 senators, to
Yes.
the president. Now, the national and the subnational, what are they working in sync? Is there a synergy?
And
We are
course,
talking of security challenge.
And the accountability that when it comes to the subnationals, in many ways,
We have not seen the accountability.
It feels like
no.
it's been, but we do have to wrap up there. It's never enough time to talk about the scorecard of Mr. President. And of course, I know that this is a conversation that's going to continue in the next few days.
But let me say this final word to Mr. President. If he's watching, watch your back. Sycophants around you are only interested in retaining their position. The real truth is that the street is not smiling.
All right. Thank you so much, political analyst, Mr. Jide Ojo, for being with us on Politics Today, and good luck with all the work you have ahead of you.
Thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend.